Hello and welcome to another wrap-up. In February, I actually read quite a lot again because I'm including manga in my reading challenge this year. Manga online, I need to specify. So I ended up reading 13 books and DNFing a singular book. So I did slightly better than last month, which is lovely, especially since February is a shorter month than January, in case you didn't know. I once again read mostly manga slash graphic novels. I say slash because there's a graphic novel in there, so I felt like I needed to bunch them together. That's why. I read 11 manga slash graphic novels. Yeah. If I were doing it the same as last year, where I don't include books that I've read online, manga that I've read online, I would have only read 6 books this month, so... And then apart from manga, I read 1 fantasy book and 1 romance book. For star rating, I didn't read any terrible books, which is great for me because last year was horrible. I read a 5-star, my first 5-star, watch out. I read 1 4.5, 8 4 stars, and 3 3.5 stars. So I didn't read anything terrible. It was mostly okay, good, amazing. Wow. So let's just get into the books. So the first book that I read in February was Kingdom of the Feared by Kerri Maniscalco, which is the last book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series, which, if you've never heard of the series, it is I would consider it new adult, but some people say it's young adult. It follows Emilia, this girl who's a witch, and her twin sister is murdered. So she tries to find out how, why, who did it. And whilst doing that, she finds out that her sister summoned a demon, which is dark magic, and they're not supposed to do it. So in order to find out what happened to her sister, she summons a demon as well, but ends up summoning one of the princes of hell, which is Wrath. I ended up giving this a 3.5. It was not what I was expecting, I guess. I don't know, I think my expectations were a little bit higher than what they should have been. There's just a lot of plot lines going on, and I'm still confused about some things, like why. As in the first book, there's also a murder mystery moment, which I did not give a shit about. There were a lot of plot points in this that I didn't care about, honestly. I'm itchy. The romance isn't as bantery fun as in the first 2 books. Here it's more like... Sometimes in this book there isn't even romance. Wrath and Emilia are... When they're there, it's mostly for smut, not romantic vibes, which is perfectly fine. I wasn't mad about it. But I don't know. There was a singular scene that I remember that I thought was romantic, and it was really good, which is at the end. If you've read this, you know the scene, probably. Speaking of smut, that was one of the main reasons this was enjoyable. I think without it, it wouldn't have been a 3.5 star, it would have been less. It is what it is. But yeah, it was okay, basically. It wasn't amazing. It was a very confusing book as well at some points. Not that it's confusing like you don't know what's going on, it's confusing because why? I don't know how to explain it without spoiling, so I probably sound crazy. The next book that I read was the 3rd volume of My Little Monster by Robico, I think. It's about this delinquent and a studious girl, basically. It was okay. Again, I gave it a 3.5. It's still the same as the anime, so I'm not getting anything new, if that makes sense. I don't know what else to say. It's literally 160 pages. How much? I don't know. The next book that I read was one that I was super excited for, which is Heartstopper Volume 4 by Oseman, obviously. I missed this series and these characters so much. I had such a great time reading this. I loved a lot of scenes. I don't want to spoil in case you haven't read this yet. But it was just really cute. I almost cried. This was I gave it a 5-star, obviously, I don't know. But I loved it. It was such a good time, loved it. The next book that I read was an ARC that I got from NetGalley, which is called Nobody Puts Romcoms in a Corner by Kathryn Freeman. As you can tell by the title, there's some dirty dancing going on. It follows 2 characters, a girl, I forgot their names, doesn't matter. A girl who loves rom-coms, is obsessed with it and believes in true love, yada yada. And then a guy who doesn't believe in love and hates rom-coms end up living together because of reasons. And on a night where they're kind of drunk, they end up doing the Dirty Dancing lift, and she posts it on TikTok, which we'll get to that. And it goes viral. So they end up recreating more iconic scenes from rom-coms. I ended up giving this a 3.5. It was enjoyable, but like, I usually really hate references in books, but exception when it's relevant. And in this case, it was relevant because they're recreating iconic scenes, so it makes sense. TikTok, I did not like the mention of. I don't know why, it just makes me feel weird. But it was really fun seeing them recreating the iconic scenes because I, as most people, I think, love rom-coms, and I've watched a lot of them, rewatched a lot of them, and have seen like probably 99% of the ones mentioned in this book. There's probably like one. Oh, it's because they mentioned after, and I'm never gonna watch that in my life. So other than that, the plot was obviously predictable, but I say that about every romance book to exist, so take that with a grain of salt. The romance was okay. I didn't feel like they actually loved each other. Their tension was really fun and banter. The smut was fun, but like the rest was okay. Oh my god, I just remember their names. Their names are Sally and Harry, because that pissed me off because it wasn't very original. Like, I get, haha, when Harry met Sally, but like, please. Basically, it was an okay book. Enjoyable, but not the greatest thing I've ever read. The next 6 books that I read, I'm gonna join together because they're part of the same series. And they're the 6 volumes of What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. I found it randomly, even though it's really old and there's even a show, and my sister watched the show and I realized it was that this is really long-winded. I realized it was that show and I started talking to her about it, and she did not give me the time of day. My sister just didn't really care. Basically, this follows a CEO businessman and his secretary, obviously. Wow, amazing. His secretary has been working for him for like 9 years, and she suddenly wants to quit. And he tries to do everything in his power to make her stay because he feels like he's basically in love with her, but he's in denial, of course. So the reason she says that she wants to leave is because she wants to have a life. She hasn't had a life in the past 9 years of working for him, and she wants to like get married and stuff before she's too old. So yeah, it's really fun. I gave them all 4 stars. I'm still kind of deciding. For now, they're all 4 stars. There might be a 4.5 in the middle, but we don't know. For now, they're all just 4 stars. In general, 4 stars. It was really fun. Super cute. The last volume has sort of like an epilogue with... I'm not gonna spoil. Almost did. There's a really cute epilogue. I really loved the epilogue. It was so cute. Overall, it's really cute and fun, and I really enjoyed it. That's the shortest way I can explain it. The next book is the DNF that I told you about in the beginning of this video. Remember? Anyways, I DNF'd Challenger Deep. I was going to use this for the magical readathon adventure year-long reading challenge thing, because the 2 prompts for February were water on the cover or trees on the cover, so this is clearly water. Sadly, I did not enjoy this. I don't know if I could count this because I DNF'd it, but I read something else. I got to page 102 and I just could not. I fell asleep, almost fell asleep 5 times. It was just not for me. It follows him living a normal life, going to school, etc. But also at the same time, he's on a pirate ship, which makes no sense to me. I still don't know what this book is because I didn't finish it and this didn't explain anything. I just could not continue. I was bored. This is not a book for me. I understand that it's probably a good book about mental illness, but I just don't like the way that books are when it's like this, where I'm confused because the person is hallucinating or something. I don't even know. Kind of like Wicker King, I personally don't enjoy books like that, where it's about mental illness, but you also experience their hallucinations and it's like fantasy, but it's not. I just didn't like this. Moral of the story, I'm not gonna rant about it. And the last 3 books that I read in February were also part of the same series, and they're the 3 volumes that I own that exist of Little Witch Academia by Trigger, which is the studio that made the show. Okay. This, I loved the anime when I watched it. It's so cute, it's so fun. I loved it. It just follows a human girl who really wants to be a witch. So she goes to this school for witches, which is called Luna Nova. And there she is really terrible at everything because she just is. And everyone else already knows how to do a lot of spells because they come from witch families. And we just follow the main character, whose name is Ako, and her trying to navigate that school and also fighting off magical beasts and stuff. I think the show and this are supposed to go like together. I don't really know, actually. I just think that if you have not watched the show, you can read this, but you're gonna be a little bit confused. I gave the first book a 4.5 just because I love it, and these 2 were a 4. It basically follows the show, almost identical. There's some things that aren't in the show, and there are some things in the show that aren't in the books. So that's why I'm saying they kind of go together. It's just really cute. I really love them. I love Ako and her friends Susie and Lottie. I don't really know how to say them in English. It's fine. It's just really cute. I really enjoyed them. I wish there were more. Or more of the show. No, actually the show ended on a good note, so I just wish there were more books. So these 5 books plus the a million manga that I read online were all the books that I read in February. I had a decent time, so yeah, I have nothing else to talk about. So that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next weird video. Bye!